How's everybody doing? Jared Russell here, along with, as you can see, Mr. David Verbruggen, the master of charts by TRADEway. We're excited to be here with you for this topical webinar. See if we got folks from all over these great United States, sir. I see everybody chiming in, man, from Washington State to Sarasota. That about covers it, right? Everything and everything in between. So fantastic. I'm in San Antonio, Texas. Like I said on chat, it's 70 and mostly sunny here. So these clouds are not live. So I don't have a high rise that I office out of currently, but, and David, I don't think David's in Alaska. So,
No,
virtual.
no, we do get northern lights out here every once in a while, but
Yeah, that's true. You're up there far enough.
Yeah.
But, well, I'm excited to be here. This is going to be good. David and I have chatted a bit, and he's going to be leading us mostly through this, kind of being our charts guru. But we're going to talk about journaling. And I think there's kind of two pieces, David. Number one is, okay, journaling as an activity. Like, why do I journal? Why do I need to, this kind of comes into tracking your trades, right? And understanding your thought process at the time you made the trading decision. How many of you are probably pretty certain that like 2 months from now, you may not remember exactly what you were thinking when you got into a trade 60 days prior? I can't remember what I did 60 minutes ago. I have little kids. Okay. So 60 days ago, I'm not going to remember. It's really key as an activity to be tracking your trade details first. And then I guess journaling, that is definitely part of it. But another piece of what I would say journaling is all of those, all of the extras, I'll call them the intangibles. Like I always have a notes section before charts. I have a notes section on just a doofus Excel sheet, right? I'm not an Excel genius. So I just have a simple spreadsheet, but I always had a section. The biggest section was the right-hand column for notes, because I wanted to remember, what the heck was I thinking? Why did I get in this? What was my expectation? What was the market condition? Some of those things that you're not going to know just looking back at the chart. So one of them is kind of a practical, I need to track I need to remember what I was thinking. And the other one is, how do you know where you're being successful and where you're struggling in your actual trading results if you don't know what the trades were? I mean, if you're not logging and tracking and journaling what was happening, you really are driving blind. So you may have a stretch, and I'm guilty. What I'm about to say, I am guilty of in the last 12 years. Not anymore, but used to be. And that is that I would go through a phase of like, oh my gosh, I've figured it out. Profits seem to be coming really easily right now. This is great. All these, I can't lose. All these trades are going really well. And that's awesome. When the market is in a flow, usually the market's in a situation where what I happen to be doing is in sync with the market. Right. And so I just figured, well, I've got this thing figured out. And then when the market changed and I was doing the same things, I'm like, wait a minute, this was just working like 2 months ago. And now something's changed and it's not working. But I wasn't tracking my trades consistently enough to recognize, well, which kinds of trades were working well for me, which kinds of trades maybe I weren't producing fruit. Because the bottom line is, it doesn't really matter, David, as a trader. I'm going to say this gently, because it does matter a little bit what we prefer. I mean, preferences are a real thing with traders, okay? And personality is a real thing. But if what you prefer isn't working, like, or producing profits, it really doesn't matter. You need to do something you don't prefer that will make profits, even if it's something that stretches you, right? How do you know what that is? Like if I'm not tracking my trades and I'm like, well, I'm just buying a bunch of calls, and sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not, or I'm doing a mixture of calls and credit spreads, and all the profits that I'm producing are coming from the credit spreads, just as an arbitrary example. Wouldn't it be powerful to look back at a journal or a trade sample and say, maybe I should had I only done just those trades, where would I be today? Right? If all my profits were coming from a specific strategy, maybe I need to focus on that for the time being and leave the other to the side so that I can increase that equity curve, right? So a couple of pieces to this that I think are super important. And I'm going to be here in the background, kind of helping out, chatting, answering some questions, but excited to see what David has for us to kind of walk us through some of the big picture and then the actual mechanics of using journaling. So I'm ready to go, man. What about you?
That's awesome, Jared. I really appreciate it. And it's everything that you said was really great. And it's really getting down to, why are we journaling? Like, why should we journal? And I think the problem that a lot of us have, especially when we're newer, and I'm also guilty of this, right? Two hands up for me, right? Because I wasn't journaling effectively. I had some type of journaling I was doing, but it wasn't very effective. But many of us new traders, when we start trading, we don't really have a thought out, plan. We haven't practiced. We're not tracking things properly. And, we hear journaling and it's like, oh, that sounds boring. Well, to me, it does. So like, I don't want to be writing down my feelings. It's not always about that, right? When we're talking about journaling, it's more just like a log, like you guys know, I used to be a pilot and I have I have a flight log. So I have a log of all my flights that I've done, all my hours. I can look at, any specific flight and I know exactly what type of plane I was flying, where I was going, how many hours of nighttime, how many hours of daytime, all this stuff, right? It's just all logged. So this is the same kind of thing. It's a log of your trades, and you can put in their notes of, hey, this is what I was feeling, this is when this happens I felt this way. You could definitely can put that in there if you want to, and I'd encourage you if that's something that you think would help you. But if we don't journal our trades, then we're just not going to be able to see what's working and what isn't working, right? It really is that simple. And so then you've got situations where newer traders, they may continue to use the wrong strategies or inadvertently abandon working strategies, right?
Good
You may
point.
have
Good point.
a newer trader that actually this strategy is working out for them. They're actually doing a good job on that, but for whatever reason, they're not feeling like it is, and they have nothing to back it up. They can't see that it is working, and now they abandon that and they go do something else, or maybe break their trade plan rules. And as a new student, especially, not even just new, honestly, at this point, like when that happens, and your account keeps diminishing, the negative psychological pressures set in hard, and it can hurt the student even more. And so it's a big deal.
Agree. That's a really good point, by the way, just really quickly,
Yeah.
about who would ever abandon something that's working consistently if they knew what that was, right? I mean, and this sounds totally stupid. Like, you'd think, well, look, I'm not an idiot. I mean, if it's working, I'm going to keep doing it. But if you're just out here trading, and by the way, really easy in trading to just be like constantly finding the next trade. And I'm so guilty of having to go back and go, hey, man, even to this day, hey, you got to go back and fill in your spreadsheet, your journal, go do it. You got to be able to do that. And I'll let it get a little, like, when I'm doing really well, I'll do it after I get filled, I'll immediately go do that. That's the best practice. I'm not going to say I always do that, but sometimes I got to go back. I got to open my history. Okay. Fill in the blanks. But if you're doing something that's working, why in the world would you stop? Well, everybody's like, well, I wouldn't, clearly. But if you're not sure exactly, okay, you know what? Not just, for example, not just credit spreads are working here, but like bull put credit spreads are the one strategy that seems to be working consistently for me. Just saying that, right? If that were the case, it's very easy to not know that if you're not keeping details, because you're going to, you're going to have trades that are going well and you're going to think, hey, that's cool. But really digging in and having the detail is where you're going to be able to shift before maybe even that your results are shifting. You're going to be able to shift based on what the market's doing. So as you look through what you've been having success with and what's been struggling. So anyway, that's good.
Yeah. And Jared, check this out, right? This is kind of a new little flavor to it. Back when I first started, like my first 2-3 months of trading, you probably remember this because I emailed you a ton. I was all about those step 2 trades, right? Like step 2 calls. That was my thing. That was, I wanted the home runs, the big money, right? And there were a couple of those in there, but for the most part, I kind of just, my account kind of went down and down and down. It just wasn't working out well. I was brand new. I didn't really know and understand, or was accepting the risk and all that stuff. So I took, my first 20 trades or so, and I went through it, and I decided, thankfully for one, I had logged them on an Excel sheet, right? So I could do this. I could go back and see what I entered, when I entered, and what the prices were and all that. I went back and I looked and saw, okay, what if I had done these as a step 3 credit spread? What if I had done all these step 2s as a credit spread? And I was surprised to find out that, I would have been profitable 80 something percent of the time. And, you know, at the end of that batch of trades, I would have actually been profitable, assuming I had managed them appropriately and followed my plan. And that's a whole nother story but anyway, so that was eye-opening for me. So even in that kind of rudimentary journaling that I had done at that time, I'd be able to see, hey, I might need to shift some things. You know, I think I'm finding potentially good entry points, but I just need to use a different strategy. And so that would have helped me. And so what I needed was really even a better way of tracking trades and paying attention to trades and being able to get better and quicker analysis. And throughout my trading journey, you know, I had tried several different things. I've tried several different types of spreadsheets. I've tried creating, you know, trade bills for myself, you know, where I have kind of a, you know, a skeleton sheet or whatever, and I fill in the blanks on what that trade is. I even did an email journal where I just kind of email myself my trade and then reply to my own email and that. And then Charts by TRADEway came along. And, you know, Charts by TRADEway has many different great features in there. And probably one of the most powerful features is the trade journal. And that's what we're going to be jumping in today. And this journal, it helps automatically track your trades, right? You don't have to necessarily go in after you've completed a trade and fill in a bunch of stuff. I'm going to show you how you can automatically set this, or you can set this up so that it automatically logs your trades for you. And then we're going to go through how we can really use that Charts by TRADEway journal to get, you know, instant statistical analysis so you can see what is working and what isn't working. And guys, some of you guys have heard this story before, and but it's a good story. So if you haven't, you know, listen to this, right? So Rance Mashek, he created Charts by TRADEway, right? He's the one who has put all the pieces together and made this whole platform a possibility. Now, Rance, if you haven't heard yet, you know, he has been trading since the 90s, right? And he has done very well in the market. He has made millions in the market. He is legit, all right? And so Rance, he created Charts by TRADEway, and he wanted to create this platform to really help new students, specifically the journal section. He really wanted that to help new students, but you know, quality control, he needs to use the platform himself. So he's using it himself, and he's using the journal himself, and he's realizing, hold on a second, you know, these inverse straddles that I'm doing are not working out as well as they used to. And he made adjustments and he improved his own trading. This is a 25, 30-year vet. You know, I guess at that time it's more like 25 years in the market, you know, made millions already, and he is improving his trading still with the tools that we're going to show you today. That's powerful. So if that can help him become a better trader, what can the journal section in Charts by TRADEway do for you? So we're going to jump in right now.
Hey, real quick, just let me throw this out there. I guess somebody clear. I just wanted to throw this out there that Jeffrey in chat or in Q&A mentioned that he's been watching your previous YouTube training videos and that they're really good. So for those of you who are kind of going like, oh man, I just need some kind of like visual follow through, check out the YouTube channel. David's got a bunch of videos for Charts by TRADEway there that can kind of cut your learning curve.
Yeah, definitely. And there's more being added in there too. I've seen what's in there. We probably have a good dozen or so more videos and smaller tutorials too that'll help learn all different parts of the platform. So we're continually adding more. Oh, let's double check. Are we recording? Let's just, because we should add this one too. Where's that thingy? Yep, I see it. We're recording. So this will be added in there too. So I'm excited for that. Sweet. All right, cool. Are you guys seeing my screen and everything? Seeing charts?
I got you.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to kill my video here. Once I find the button, that might be, there it is. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's dive into this right here. Just a quick disclaimer that any of the journals that I'm going to show you are going to be paper trading journals, and primarily we're going to use this TRADEway paper trading one. And most of the trades I do in here, I'm gonna fess up and confess that I do not manage most of these trades. A lot of these trades are ones that I'll enter with students in webinars or whatever. So there's a lot of trades in there, so you're going to get to see what that looks like in the journal, but I don't manage them very well because I'm kind of all over the place with this. So anyway, just want to lay that out there and let you guys know these aren't real trades. So anything you see in there, it's not like I'm recommending, hey, go do this or go do that. Oh, while I'm in here, before I get too excited, you see the right here, auto journalist account. You can click that off, but I don't recommend it. I don't know why it does. It actually doesn't let you. Look at that. That's cool. You want to make sure that's clicked on so that it just auto journals, right? And that's going to be important so that it can help you with all the journal, and then you don't miss any trades, right? Because I don't know. For me, I like to have all my data nice and neat, and I don't want to miss anything. Okay. So real quick, if you want to get to the journal the fastest way, you're going to hover over portfolio and you're going to go to journal. And that's where you're going to see all this. And we're going to dive into this in just a second. But I want to show you how we can add some things in here. So we're going to do a quick paper trade together right now. So the first one, to throw a ticker into the chat, that's the ticker we're going to use. I don't know or care right now what the pattern is. We are simply going to do this paper trade just for showing you how we can add in some notes for our journal. So there it is. Thanks, Jeffrey. GE wins. We're going to go to GE. And here we go. We're just going to buy some shares. I'm just going to click the buy button. Here we go. I'm going to make it a market order actually, because I don't want to wait around either. We're going to review this, submit this. And there we go. You can add notes in here right now. I generally like to just continue and then make sure that it has executed. Here we go. We have executed at 85.50. And now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to journal. Now it has already put this in our journal log, but I want to click on the journal so I can add in some notes. So I can, add in things like stop out at, I'm just making stuff up here, guys, $82. Profit target at, whoops, $90, right? So you can put notes in there like that. That's going to be really good to do. You can put your basic trade plan. Many of you guys are familiar with the set method, your stop out, your entry, your target. So there you go. You've already got your entry in right here, right there. And then you've got your stop out and your profit target now. So you can do that. You can put in other things. Why did you get into the trade? What did you see? Oh, I saw this uptrending pattern. Actually, that was a good pattern that Jeffrey pulled up there. That was nice. So it's bouncing up off the 20 EMA. Moved up and got confirmation, whatever the case is, you can throw that in there and that way you can go back and look at that. These tags are going to be really important too. It's the platform is going to identify what type of trade you're doing, and it's already telling us, hey, we're long the stock. So there you go. But we can put in a different, maybe you want to put in your own, right? You can add in your own here. Uptrend, for example, right? Uptrend. And then when you do that, make sure you hit enter so that it goes white there, and that's going to save that. So now let's click save. There we go. And we can now see this right there, GE long stock. And if I click on it and expand it, I can see my plan. Stop out at 82, profit target at 90, right? And then the tags are going to show right up here. See the long stock and the uptrend. So there you go. Let's go ahead and just close this trade immediately now so that we can see that. Oh, here we go. Positions got lost for a second here. We're just going to close it immediately. Again, I'm just going to mark it out of this thing. There we go. There it is, executed. We lost 13 cents per share. No big deal. All right. So now let me go ahead and refresh this page for the journal. I want to do life of trade. There we go. Select that one. There we go. Okay. So now I can click on here and I can see the opening information and the closing information, right? And it shows, yep, there was a $13 loss. And the timestamp here, that should be East Coast time, right? New York Stock Exchange is on East Coast, so why not use the East Coast time in there? So that's just the real quick version. To see that, I want to show you guys that part. Also, I think I forgot to mention, if you guys have any questions while we go, throw those in the Q&A. It might be a little bit tough to catch all the questions in the chat, so make sure the questions go in the Q&A. We will have a time at the end here for any questions that shouldn't be brought up immediately. We'll have a time at the end to just go through whatever questions on the journaling section you guys have. So, all right. So we showed that part. We did this quick paper trade. We showed you guys, how you can add in the notes for the journal. But now there's a whole lot more still going on in here, right? So let's go ahead and we're just going to take this, as slow as we need to, so that we cover every part in here, so that we just know what's going on. We're going to start just on the very left here, right? So you can see these are the different accounts I have right now. I have a real account that's honestly just there to get some live data, which I forgot to set up, but no big deal. We don't need that right now. So I don't actually have any trades in there. Here's that TRADEway paper trading account that I was telling you about. So here's all the trades that were put in there. And then I have a new paper trading account that I started just recently, at the beginning of the month, actually. So I've been doing some things in there, trying out some different things there. So you can click on, one or the other account, right? Or you can do a combination of accounts. You can choose real, virtual, or manual, right? There's several different ways that you can just isolate one account to look at it, or you can look at a combination of accounts. It's totally up to you, whatever works best for you. And then in this middle section here, we can oftentimes it defaults to transactions. This is going to show every single transaction made. I personally like the life of trade better. That's going to show you instead of every transaction, it's going to show you that whole trade, right? So we just did GE. Instead of showing the in and the out, I just see GE. We are long stock and we lost $13 on that trade, right? So that's the way that I like to look at it, because I can always expand it and see the two transactions, right? So I can always do that. You might be asking, what's reconciliation? Reconciliation is going to be when you are in, let's say, a credit spread and you hold it through expiration. The platform is pretty good at determining what happened. And, okay, well, it closed all out of the money, so everything's worthless. But you still have to reconcile that and confirm, yes, this is what happened, right? So whenever an option goes past expiration, you'll need to reconcile and just tell the platform, yes, this is what happened. So that is that part right there. You notice here on the left, you got these different colors. Green's going to be for a winning trade, right? This W right here, that was a winning trade. The brown's going to be for a losing trade. Blue's going to be a trade that you're still in. Okay, so those are going to be open trades. And then I think I have one in here that's black. There you go. Black is going to be a break-even trade. You're probably not going to see many of those. It's kind of hard to break even. I somehow managed to do it on there. Exactly break even. So that's the difference there. You can see the number of days in the trade. So this, bear put here on lift, I was in that trade for 5 days, right? And then you can see the profit and loss. And again, all these are paper trades here. Some of them are big, some of them are small, but you can see the profit and the loss there. And let's expand this again. Let's show all the different buttons here. So we expand this. Let's hover over here, and this you can link this to other trades. Sometimes when maybe you leg in or out of an iron condor or some other type of trade. If we're going to leg in, leg out, you may need to come here and actually link the two trades so that the platform knows, hey, this is all part of the same trade. So that's important to know. Clicking this right here is going to send it to backtest. So maybe I want to backtest this, GE trade, like, that didn't go so well. What could have done, what could have gone better? So you send it to backtest. Real quick side note on backtesting in charts by TRADEway. I just need to mention this because I'm excited about this, right? I just had a meeting with Rance yesterday. It was a great meeting, and we've got some improvements and additions coming to all things backtesting in the platform. And I'm pretty excited because it's going to be good. It's going to be set up in stages, but anyway, that's coming. There are backtesting functions now, but it's going to get even better. So very excited about that. If you click here on the little pencil button, you can edit your journal entry. You can add in more notes. So that's perfectly fine. Maybe at the end, this trade, I wanted to add in more notes. Hey, I was only in this for 3 minutes. Maybe I should have let the trade work longer. So whatever the case is. They have this delete journal entry button in here. Probably don't ever want to use that. I'm not really sure why I would want to delete something, but it is there. So so you know about that. All right, moving on out of here, we've got this filters button, and we can go ahead and filter our, what we're looking at by date down here. It kind of auto defaults to a year, but if you want to go back longer than that, maybe you had maybe you've been using it for a while and you've got data for over a year, you can do that. You can save that. It's going to do more than a year there. You can also, you remember the tags? Remember how we tagged uptrend, and then there was the auto tag of long stock. You can search via the tags, right? You can search via symbols up here. You can also, whatever you put in notes, hey, everything that I plan to stop out for, I want to see how those worked, so you can search for notes right there as well and filter it all. And I know some of this information may seem kind of dry, like, oh, man, it's just showing us every button, but it's important to know the tools that are available and how to use them for later on when we start to actually look at how can we analyze things better, right? So I just wanted to make sure that everyone is aware of where that all is. And then everything in here can also be exported to a PDF. So if I click that export button, you won't actually see anything happen. But if I go into my downloads folder, it'll export all these trades into a PDF. So that could be something useful as well later on.
Hey, David.
Right. Yeah, go for it.
Real quick, I don't want to cut you off. A couple questions. Tiffany's asking, what is the brownish color in the journal? I think you mentioned that, but if you want to
the brown right here, that's going to be any trade that is an expense, right? So FSLY, I lost 293 there. Hog, I lost 900 there. They could have made it red, but I kind of like brown because red's harsh, right? So
red just reminds you of the harsh reality.
Yeah. Yep. There you go.
And there's another one about the what's the green? I mean,
yep.
I think.
Yep, the green is just opposite. Then that's going to be your profitable trades. So yep, and it doesn't matter how profitable. I mean, $78 you get green. $2,300 you get green. So there you go.
And then if you guys are also referring to the right side over here, you can see that the biggest green bar is the biggest profit, right? Like the small red bar is a small loss. That if you're looking at those bars over there and wondering, that's what that is. So we want to see a bunch of big green bars over there. Okay, everybody, just do that.
Yep. And the yellow ones, those are also going to be open trades. Why does it differentiate between yellow and blue? Blue is open trade. Yellow is open trade. Ah, man, you've got me stumped now. I'm going to have to go back and ask that question. I don't know what the difference is between or why it's highlighting these guys as yellow. Maybe it has, I don't know.
Also have a question about what is a tag. You can just hit that real quick because you were talking about kind of the hashtag, maybe a topic or something that you wanted to cover.
Yeah, that's that hashtag. So remember at the very beginning here when we entered this GE trade, and it automatically puts the number sign. That's the hashtag thing. So number sign, long stock, and then we added in uptrend, right? And so I personally, I don't like on social media and stuff, I don't ever hashtag things. I don't understand it or know what the point of it is. But in the trade journal, the way this works is I can kind of assign a name to that trade, right? And then you're going to see it up here. And so I'm glad you asked that question, because it leads us right into what we're talking about next here. These are all the tags that we have. And some of them are automatically put in for us, like long stock or long put, long call. Some of them I put in myself, like geo flag, right? Or NM dive, it's a news moves dive play. And so you can look at the tags and see how those have worked out. So long call, for example, right? Long call between the two accounts total. I've done 11 long calls in here, and my average profit has been $822. My win percentage is 63%, and my average days in a trade is 6 days for the long call. Okay, so those long calls are going pretty well. Look at this expiration, right? So these are ones that you've held. These are options that you've held through expiration, and it's automatically going to throw that tag on there. I've done that 15 times. I'm averaging $150 expense each time I do it. Even though my win percentage is 80%. Let's dive into that real quick. I was going to share this in a later section, but let's just do it now. This is some quick analysis, right? There's a reason why we like to encourage you guys to get out of your trades at a specified percentage of max profit instead of holding through expiration. This is a great example why. Here on these expiration trades, I've won 80% of my trades, yet I am averaging a loss, right? You got all these wins, and then I've got two major losses in here, one for $730 and one for almost $2,300, right? So this is one where, our expectancy, if you will, is a negative expectancy, right? If I'm going to keep holding trades to expiration, even though I might be winning 80% of them with whatever I was doing, plan or not plan, I'm actually losing money overall. So I should probably change something. Maybe I should take profits when they're available and stop out when when I needed to. So holding through expiration, not always the best thing. But here we already have some instant analysis as to what's going on there. All right. I'll make sure I'm not missing anything on my notes here. All right, you've got the totals at the bottom here as well. You can see the date range. So again, it just defaults to the last year. We could change that. And between the two accounts, our total profit would be about 22,000. The average is going to be 479. 46 total trades between those two accounts. For 65% of the time I win the trades, and then an average of 13 days in the trade. So it just kind of gives you a total at the bottom there as well. So that can be useful information also. All right. Any questions on here before we move on to the graph section?
Yeah, I mean, I think I do like the idea of circling back at the end for Q&A, but I also kind of don't want to have a question that we don't have much connection to at the end. So how about, is it possible to include past trades? Like trades you've already executed, can you manually enter that somehow and track something that you didn't actually do here? I'm guessing that's what John means with that question, but.
Yeah, that's a good question. So we can't add past trades into these paper trading accounts. However, if you open up a manual account, and I'll show you that real quick. is come down here to the accounts tab, hit the plus button, and then you're going to click here and choose manual generic. You can add a manual account and then you can add in past trades, right? Now, if you link a live account, it's going to automatically bring in 6 months worth of back data. So you can see that in your journal already, 6 months worth. But if you wanted to just add them in manually, then you can use that manual account and you can start throwing those in there. And then you can see it on the journal tab as well. So this is a good question.
Can you circle back super quick and just do a quick description of what that average P&L is showing us?
Yeah. So this average, good question. The average P&L is going to be showing us what the average is for each tag, right? So again, the expiration here, anything that was tagged with expiration, my average was $150 expense, right? Let's choose this right here, bull call, right? Anything that was tagged with a bull call, my average was $172 expense. Anything that was a long put, my average was $1,700 profit, right? So that's going to be the average for each tag. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. Anything else before we move on?
John mentions, could the yellow be unreconciled? You remember you're going through looking at the different colors. Could that be because it's unreconciled? I don't know, just something to think about there as you look into it.
I don't think so. I don't think I had anything unreconciled. Usually, no.
No.
Now it got rid of the yellow things. Oh no, it's still there.
Looks like we're clear for the moment.
Okay. All right, sounds good. All right, so let's move on to the graphs here. So there's a lot of good information in the tags. Graphs is just going to give us, a different picture, if you will, right? And we have two different graphs that we're looking at. This top one right here, we're going to compare how long we're in the trade. That's on the bottom here, the days in the trade. We're going to compare that to the profit or the expense on, on the left side here. And so you can see all the different little buttons, if you will. Most of these are options trades. You can see that by the little blue circles, and a few of them are stock trades, the little yellow, brown diamond things right there. And you can zoom into this as well, right? So maybe I want to go ahead and just see this cross section. I zoom into that and then it brings it up. You can hover over each one, and let's look at this one, for example. This was on Apple. It was a long call. The profit was $1,460, right? I was in it for 12 days. And look at this one, for example. This is on SPY. This was a nearly $2,300 expense. I was in it for 8 days. Now it's like, okay, well, what's the point of this? The point is to see if there's correlations, right? If you see, for example, that, wow, I tend to take some smaller expenses in the, in trades that I haven't been in for very long, but if I'm in there longer, they tend to be wins. They tend to be profitable. Okay, well then, maybe you just need to let the trade work longer, right? Your longer trades are working out better. So if you see I know this view is just kind of all over the place, but if you start seeing a correlation, then you might be able to see what is working, what isn't working. Timeline view down below is similar, but instead of it being, hey, this is how long I was in the trade, it's like, this is when the trade was. So you can see the dates down below, and then you can see the profit loss as well. So maybe, you look at things and you're like, maybe during the summertime, I took a lot more expenses. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, we were traveling. I wasn't paying as attention to my trades as I needed to. And so maybe I need to actually take vacation from trading as well, because, if you're not making money during that time and you can figure out the reason why, you can make some changes necessary there. And if you zoom here, you can always just reset the zoom. Bottom also zooms, so you can look at that too. And again, it differentiates between stock and options there. as well. All right, any questions on the graphs section before we jump over to insight?
Looks good for now.
All right. Insight's one of my favorite pages, I think. We've got a couple more graphs here. We've got these guys. Those are always fun, but it just gives us a lot of good information. Again, with this date range, I can look at all kinds of statistical data here, right? So we've got 45 of the 62 trades closed right now, and between the two accounts, 29 of them were winners and 16 of them were, it says losers. We'll just read that as expenses, right? It's only a loser if you don't learn anything from it. Expenses happen in business. It just is what it is. If you never take an expense, it's not really a business. So anyways, you can see total profits, total expenses, averages as well. The average number of days in winners versus expenses. And you can see some of these graphs as well. So good information in here. Down below, you can kind of see just like an equity graph, right? So, it was down a little bit and then popped up. It was a little bit profitable, had one crazy trade that went well, and been kind of flat since then, and lately uptrending again. So that's kind of an equity graph right there. And then down below, you're going to see a bar graph just showing, it's just another way to visualize what is happening up here. So you can see each trade represented by a bar, and then however high it goes, that's the profit, or however low it goes as the expense. I don't think you can zoom in on the bottom one. So there's that part on the insight section. And so one of the things I learned from Rand, actually, he pointed out that, hey, if your win loss in dollars, for example, if that loss arc is greater than your win loss percentage arc, so if the loss on the percentage is smaller, so greater here and smaller here, that means that you've been holding your losing trades too long, right? And so that's not the case here between these two accounts, which is kind of it's a little surprising to me almost, because most of the trades, which is just going to be here, let's just isolate it. Now we're only looking at the TRADEway paper trading accounts, right? Again, I don't really manage these trades very well because I'm just not looking at them all the time. I kind of enter them and then I'm off to another meeting, webinar, or whatever, and I don't watch it. But if you see that, hey, your losing arc is greater than the percentage losing arc, then you're just holding your losing trades too long. You need to stop out sooner. So it's kind of one of those good insights into your trading. Now we talked about tags, graphs, and insight. We can filter for things, and then it's going to change the information on the right side here, right? So let's do this real quick. Let's just do long stock. I'm going to save that. Oops, there it is. Now it's going to pull up all the long stocks, and it's going to filter out everything that doesn't apply here, right? So the tags are going to stay in there. The graphs, you can see all the stock trades on the graphs and in insight as well. So you can go ahead and actually just look at very specific things in here, and it simply just filters out what you don't want to look at, so that you can get better analysis and really hone in on the very specific thing you do want to look at. So it's really just about knowing that the tools are available in there and how to use them. Any questions on that so far?
I think over on that right side, when you were working around with the graph, Lola asked if you were clicking and dragging to zoom. I think you were over on the graph section.
Yep.
Okay. Yes. There you go.
Yep. You click and drag, and then you can see the blue box that appears, and that zooms in, and then you can reset the zoom there as well.
And then Glenn asks, can you change the date range?
Yep, absolutely. And the filters right here, it's going to default to 1 year date, but maybe I only want to look at from the beginning of this year, right? So let's go to 2023, January 2nd. Let's save that. Oh man, I still had it on stock, huh? Let's get rid of that one. Save. All right, so in this particular account, I've done these 4 trades. And so you can see that this year it would be kind of rough, right? I had this bad one earlier in the year, and only 1 winning trade actually there. So you can filter it based off the date range, and that's good. You know, that way you can say, okay, wow, this year was already rough in this account. So what needs to change, right? What needs to change?
Looks good.
All right. Couple other things. Let's do this. Let's hop over to a chart real quick. I want to show you guys. This isn't specifically in the journal, but this is a really cool thing as well. Let's look at Apple, for example, and if you click on the activity tab, this is going to give you some helpful information too. This is going to look at all of your transactions in this account on that ticker, right? And so I can look now specifically at Apple and see, okay, so in this account, I've done all these, transactions, all these trades, and this is what it looks like. Here's some analytics as well. You could get to here on the journal tab too, but sometimes it's just a little easier, a little quicker to just look at the activity page. Hey, Apple, I've done pretty well, right? There have been some good trades in there. You can see total profit and loss, average profit and loss. We click on something else like GM, and nothing pops up because I haven't done any trades on GM in this account, right? So that, it's not going to obviously give you any feedback or information. We haven't done any trades there, but Apple, for example, I've done several examples in here, and you can see what is working and what isn't working. So there you go. There's that part. Jumping over here to the journal again. Couple other ways that we can, let's do this. Let's talk about a couple ways that we can really use this to help us out when we're talking with a coach, right? Sometimes we're like, hey, I want analysis on this trade I was in, and what information do I send you? Well, let's look at this GE example again. You could simply open this up and take a screenshot of this. You take a screenshot of this and send this into the coaches. We have the information that we need, right? We can see when you got in, when you got out. We can, see some of the notes you put in there. But if you send a screenshot and just maybe your trading plan, and, you could also even screenshot the chart, all of a sudden we have a lot of really good information to help you kind of analyze this thing. Sometimes in coaching, we get asked questions, but we're like, wow, I need more information to be able to really help you out. So here's a way that we can get some good information. And again, you can export, right? You can export, and you don't have to export the entire trade journal necessarily. You could filter for certain trades and just export those, but then you could send that PDF in as well and ask specific questions about specific trades in there. So it's different ways you can do that also. So guys, that's the most of it right there. The rest of it is really just playing with it, right? I kind of blitzed through and showed you guys several different things. And that's good if you watched. It's even better if you kind of followed along on your charts account. But it's going to take just some playing around with it, some figuring it out and seeing what you like. You may think, oh, you know what? The graphs page, it's not really, I don't get much out of that, but I love the insight page and I love seeing the tags page. Okay, cool. Well, now you know what's going to help you. It's about knowing how to use the tools to help you in your trading. So let's go ahead, Jared, and let's hit up any other questions that may have come up.
Yeah, that's great. I just want to say right quick that I think what you've shown, just you've focused on just journaling trades, right? I mean, just details and journaling, and basically what have I actually done in trading? And here's the details. It's really a microcosm of trading in general. Like everybody's here looking at this going like, oh, very good questions, obviously, but you're not going to look at this 50-minute to an hour webinar and get it. You're going to have to, like David said, you're going to have to get in here and tinker with this, play
Yep.
around with it, open a window, click a button, mess it up,
Yep.
just like you kind of do in trading. I mean, let's face it, you got to get into your broker, you got to get comfortable with it. You have to look at chart patterns over and over and over, then you'll start to recognize them. It'll take obviously some work on each individual's part, but David did a great job of just kind of like giving us an overview and clicking through all the different areas so that you could recognize how powerful the tool is. And then just go spend some time, go spend some time in it. So Marty says, will it eventually be possible to put images in the journal? For instance, a screenshot of your chart.
Hey, that's a good question, Marty. That's something that I have requested from the developers. It's one of those things that I think can be done. It's just not high on the priority list yet, because we can go ahead easily and just take our own screenshots. But no, I've thought of that too. I would love there to be a button here, it says, look at the chart, when I entered, and then boom, it pulls up what, maybe a 6-month daily chart or something like that. It pulls up a screenshot of the chart. You can see that when you entered, when you exited, maybe you could put those next to each other and analyze that way. I think that would also be very helpful. And the request is in, but it may be a while still before we get that added in. But that's a great question.
Yeah, that would be, again, there's so many things that that you could do or you could want. That's actually would be cool. I mean, Marty says like, if there were an icon to take a screenshot inside the journal, I mean, of course,
yeah.
Well, everything that I've gone through this with Rance and the team, as you know, David, too, on certain things. And it's like, well, here's all I want to do. And the developers are like, yeah, so that means there's like 33 steps for us to actually, be able to implement that. So they're constantly working on it, but yeah, good stuff.
Yep. Absolutely. And it's part of it too, is, whenever they make changes in the background, they need to make sure that it's not messing up other things that are already in the platform. So sometimes the simple requests on their end are actually not simple.
Right.
But that's part of my job, is just keep working with them on it and keep looking at things. And we're making progress in the right direction. So that's good.
Cool. Gregory asks, under the quote insights, what's the difference between the two gain and loss arcs on the left?
Yeah.
And right.
Yeah, it's a little hard to see here maybe, but the one on the left here is percentage, win-loss percentage. And the one on the right here is going to be win-loss in dollars, right? So if I actually hover, I can see 164%, lost 35.9%, won about 20,000, lost about, 5,000.
Cool. Greg says, if I do my trades in Thinkorswim, can I do my logging on charts?
Yeah, so you can actually, you can, okay, with Thinkorswim. I was thinking TD Ameritrade. You can connect your TD Ameritrade account.
Right, which Thinkorswim would be run through TD. So yeah, if you hooked your TD account to charts, then it would automatically pull in the trades, correct?
Oh, that's a good question. I've never thought of it that way. Like if you're placing the trades in Thinkorswim, and then you are it's
an interesting question. Maybe after the fact, I'm not sure.
Yeah. So essentially what you're talking about is you just be using the charts platform for the journaling.
I think that's what the question's getting at.
Yeah. Let me make a note, because I want to ask that. Oops. You guys bring up good questions, and sometimes I gotta go ask the experts on that. So all right, I will get an answer on that. I'm not really sure how to get the answer back to you guys, but feel free to send in, in a few days or so, feel free to send in a question to support or something, and I should have an answer by then.
All right. Gordon says in chat that he sees all his tradier trades in charts, even though he did not execute them in charts. He just
Oh,
mentioned that
cool.
to us privately. So
Okay.
if you're hooked up and you've got the feed, I guess the charts is
Yeah.
picking up the transactions.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully that'll work with Toss as well. Sometimes it depends on the APIs and stuff.
Right. Jeffrey says, do you have a standard for the info that you enter for every trade? And I would answer this and just say, well, yeah, I think everybody has certain things that you have to know. But with
Yeah.
all this capability of like just what we're looking at right now on the screen, with all the detail that's there just for the GE situation, you could just take what they're going to automatically log and say, okay, what's important to me? How
Yeah.
much of this do I want to remember or know, and go from there. But I mean, I think, Jeffrey, the obvious things, the date, what strategy, when did I buy, when did I sell? If it was an option trade, what was the underlying stock price when I bought it? I mean,
Yeah.
a screenshot of the chart, those kind of things are pretty common. And then same sort of idea on the exit side. And of course, this is doing it pretty much automatically for you.
Yep. Yep. That's great.
Let's see. John says there are some trades that could be done in Thinkorswim that cannot be done in charts due to the differences in tickers. That's true. That's true. There will always be some gray area between brokers and kind of like David mentioned, the data feeds and the APIs and stuff. But
Yep.
I think that's the main questions, David. There's a couple in Q&A there. I don't know if you want to see what you
Yeah,
think.
I see one. John is asking any idea on the status of Tasty Trade working with charts. There has been progress made there. They have moved from the alpha stage of testing to the beta stage of testing. I have no idea what that means. I'm hoping there's not all the way to the Zulu stage, but there is.
I just know that B comes after A, so that means they're probably making progress.
Yeah, I got the alphabet down, but no, I'm hoping to hear back soon on that. It sounded like the beta stage would take less time than the alpha stage, and I know they were in that stage for a while. So I think it will happen eventually. But again, it's just one of those things, again, that is a slow mover. Yeah, if I had my way, it'd be in there by the end of this week. But it's one of those things that just takes a while. But we're making progress there. We haven't forgotten.
That's good. Let's do one more just really quickly, because I know you can do it fast. For Elizabeth, she's asking, can you go back really quickly on how to look at the activity for like Apple, like you did earlier, just real quickly on how to get to that breakdown, and then we'll cut everybody loose and everybody can go about their day.
Yeah. So whenever you're on, let's say you're on Apple here, you can see all these tabs at the top: dashboard, chart, yada, yada. And then the last one, activity. It's just right there. You just click on it and it's going to pull up all the activity that you've done on that ticker in that account. Right. So if I choose my other paper trading account, and I look at Apple and I choose activity. Oh, wait, it's still there. Why is it still there? That shouldn't still be there. Maybe it combines the two. Maybe it combines all your accounts. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, it says all or current. Okay, that's what it was. Okay. I haven't used the activity tab too much, honestly. So, but here it is. So I can just look at the current account, or I can just look at all accounts right there. So now if I go back to the other account and just let it kind of refresh current, there it is. All those trades are in there. So yeah, the activity tab could be really good, because you might pull up a ticker and you're like, oh man, I really like this. And you check your activity tab and you just don't get along well with that ticker, right?
That's one way to put it.
Maybe it's just one of those stocks that like just don't trade that one for whatever reason. It's just not working out with you and that ticker. And so, then that's just good to know, right? It's good to know.
That's outstanding, man. This has been great. I know we've had some great questions and some chat in the background, and we don't want these to go out too long, but they are recorded and will be posted. Do they go automatically to the YouTube channel? Where are these available, David?
Yeah. So, everything's got to go through compliance. And so I'm sure compliance will review it, and then it'll be posted to the YouTube channel afterwards, I believe. But I don't know how long. That YouTube channel is pretty brand new, so I'm not sure what the exact time frame is that you would see this up on there. But yeah, if you go watch us on that YouTube channel and you see this, click that like and subscribe button and all that good stuff, because we like that too.
Outstanding. Well, David, man, thank you. That's powerful. There's so much. I mean, information gives us such an edge. I mean, this kind of information, if you're really treating this like a business, this is the kind of information you need to be able to access and basically organize, right? And it can be as simple as each trader wants it to be, but there are certain things you just need to be aware of in your own trading activity, and they will really help you identify weaknesses and expand on strengths and that kind of thing. So this is not just a bunch of numbers and buttons. It's stuff that's really practical. So
Yeah,
very good stuff. I appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely. Guys, if you don't have Charts by TRADEway yet and you would like it, go to chartsbytradeway.com and you can sign up there for charts and have access to this. Both the elite and the basic. The basic version also has the trade journal. Why? Because it is that important. Right? The elite has a few extra features and bells and whistles and some nice things in there that basic doesn't have. But when it came to the trade journal, they're like, it's gotta be in both because it is that important. So, check that out if you guys don't have it yet.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks everybody for spending a little time with us. That's kind of run our course here. So we're gonna cut you loose. Everybody have a great day, and we'll see you at the next topical webinar. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you guys. And thanks, Jared, for being on as well. Really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, my pleasure. Enjoyed it, man.